Hey guys, Zach here. Been on a little hiatus, been off traveling for work quite a bit lately. Traveling so much that when this beauty showed up last week, I was out of town, and then with Veterans Day and everything yesterday, thanks to all the veterans, the post office was closed and I was unable to pick it up until today. I just want to go ahead and show off, give you some initial impressions on my brand new Hoback A8. This particular one in carbon fiber, with a carbon fiber inlay, titanium bolster, titanium frame lock. So let me back up just a little bit, talk just a little bit about how I ended up coming about this knife. Just about a year ago, I think it'll be a year next week, I reached out to Jake, kind of a long shot. You know, I didn't really think I'd be able to get on his books because he's been real popular for the past 2 or 3 years. Just to check, you know, never hurts to ask, right? And he said, "Oh well, I'm not going to be making A8s for a while, probably 5 to 6 months out. I can't put you on the list, but I'll put you." On the list for the list, basically, on a notification list for when the books will open up for getting on his books. So I said, yeah, absolutely. Any kind of list I can get on, I'm happy to wait for one of your knives. I've seen a few of them in person, and I just really wanted to get a hold of one. So he said, okay, just tell me what you want. All the specifics of the knife and so on, and I'll keep you in mind. So of course I told him I wanted a bolstered version of the A8, which I haven't seen a lot of bolstered versions of the A8. And for those who don't know, the A8 is a slimmer version of the A10. Essentially same overall length of knife, 3.2 inch or 3.25 inch blade. But otherwise, same overall blade length and complete length of the knife are the same as the A10. It's just a bit narrower, a little bit more EDC friendly. And that was something, having seen the A10 and held an A10 in person, I thought, well, the A8 could be cool being a little bit narrower. So I went ahead and I told him I wanted a bolstered carbon fiber version, of course. I started the clock on the waiting game. Well, a couple weeks ago, Jake had contacted me, and I saw the email pop up, and I said, "Oh, goody gumdrops! I'm finally going to get my chance to get my order put in." And Jake said, "Well, you're not up on, you haven't come up on the list yet, but I had somebody who ordered a knife basically identical to what the specifics you were looking for. Would you be interested in that? If not, you can pass and wait for your name to come up on the list." And I said, "Oh, no. How fast do you need the money? Where do you need the money sent to? So on." So, just by, I guess, by getting on the list and a little bit of luck, somebody had backed out on this one, which was identical to what I was looking for. And really, it could have been any A8 at this point that somebody had backed out on, and I would have taken it from him. So just go ahead and show this beauty off. We've got the dark acid wash, stone wash blade combo. Like I said, a 3.25 inch blade. You can see there, Jake's kind of his grind. Really beautiful grinds he does. Really high flat ground. He's kind of got a bit of a Tanto upswept shape here, which I think would work really well for utility use. Top of the spine, really nice jimping both in the frame itself and on the blade. And then of course he's got this really unique pivot that he does on a lot of his knives. I'm not sure if the real older ones have this pivot, but this might be a newer thing. Of course, it's a caged ball bearing system, so similar to what ZT uses, or kind of a thrust bearing, cage bearing system. Of course, I mentioned carbon fiber, and what's different about one of the things to keep this knife a little bit more narrow, I'd seen a bolstered version of an A10 previously. The when he does a bolstered A10 or maybe A15 also, the inlay actually sticks out a little bit further, and he kind of tapers it down to match the bolster. In this one, he's got it really very thin. I'm kind of very impressed with the contouring he's done on this carbon fiber, because it is really a thin layer that he's got here. Really very thin, you can see there. And then on the end of the knife here, he takes it down, he feathers it down to almost nothing. You can see on the end here how he feathers it down. So it's really just a very, very slim profile, which is really very nice. Beautiful little knife. Beautiful. Flips crazy. You can see I've been flipping it. He uses the HRD system, which he calls the Hoback roller detent, which is essentially a normal detent ball, but it's kind of like if you think ballpoint pen is the best way I can describe it, where the ball is encased in a little metal tip. That's the way his detent works. It's basically a little, let me get it to focus here. You can see here you can actually adjust it with an Allen head wrench, but there's a little shaft here that houses a tiny ball, which allows the ball to roll freely, like think speed stick or rolling speed stick, ballpoint pen, and that's essentially how this thing works. So the detent is good and strong, but when the knife actually breaks past the detent, that ball it rolls freely, allowing the action to be very smooth on the knife. You can see here while I'm focused on it, he's got a lock bar insert. I'm sure that's some sort of steel, stainless, some sort of stainless steel. I'm not sure what. Feel free to post in the comments if you know what he uses for his lock bar inserts, but not really a huge deal. Of course, you've got his pocket clip with his logo on it. Very nice pocket clip. I really dig the sculpturing that's done on it. Real thin, great pocket retention. Take you over to the back spacer. See, on the back spacers, he makes it almost seem like his knives are integral. They're just so perfectly flush and blended with the titanium frame. Perfectly flush. Really quite nice. Just give you guys a macro look at it. Of course, you've got a nice kind of unique lanyard slot here at the end of the knife. The knife is tip-up carry, as you can see. He's got it, which a lot of custom makers don't actually do this, but he's got it set up so that you can switch it left to right-hand carry. A lot of the production knife companies do. They'll give you options, but customs, not so much. Customs, usually you're stuck with the way the knife comes from maker. See a little bit more jimping there. Kind of a gear pattern. Get the centering on camera for you. It's perfect centering. And I'll tell you, I never really, he's kind of the only one, at least that I know of, maybe there's others, that does this kind of waved flipper. And with that roller detent and that flipper, that thing, it just fires out of there. In fact, it fires out of there so hard it feels like it's assisted. It feels like it's an assisted opening knife when really, it's not. But it just, the action is so perfect. It's so perfect. It fires so perfectly hard. It's not like a really, really soft flipper like some of the ZTs are. You got to load it up just a little bit to fire it out, to break it free, but man, is it perfect. That's the way I like my flippers to be. Give you another look here at the blade. And sorry if I'm kind of rambling on. I just got this guy today and I'm excited to show it off. There's Jake's logo there. Give you a nice look at it. Beautiful little knife, really, and really for a great price. I mean, if you're willing to wait, probably well over a year now, if you get on Jake's books, he honors the price he tells you at the time you get on his books, regardless of, which is kind of bad for him, with escalation of material prices and so on. He's really a good guy to work with. You could tell this is a custom-made knife because if you look real close, you can see ever so slightly some imperfections in the carbon fiber there. You see a little bit of voids there, a little one there. to me, those kind of things add character to a blade. You know, if I wanted a perfectly machined production knife, I've got a ZT 777 laying over here on the shelf, you know, and everything is perfectly machined. To get to see just ever so slight little imperfections kind of gives me that feel that, you know, somebody worked on this in their shop by hand, you know, and they carefully contoured and textured this carbon fiber to the best they could to make it fit perfectly. And it's going to have a little bit of imperfections in it, and that adds a bit of character, in my opinion anyway. Some people might disagree with that, and they want every single thing to be perfect, but you got to realize that these guys are making these things by hand. A lot of the pieces are completely handmade in their shops. But just a beautiful little knife. Something unique, well, maybe not unique, but something different that I was unaware of. I asked Jake last night before I picked it up. I said, hey, I know some of your older A10s and so on were M4 steel. What exactly is this one in? What kind of steel is this this A8 in? And he said, actually, this is in 4V. No, I didn't say it wrong. This particular blade, and probably others that he has coming out, are in 4V steel, which he told me is, for obvious reasons, really hard to get a hold of right now. There's not a lot of knife makers that are able to get it. And it's, you know, if you think 3V with wear resistance and just a hard use steel, he tells me that the 4V is like 3V amped up. So very exciting to kind of find that out. I haven't seen many, if any, other knives out in 4V currently. But I did a little bit of research on it, and I'm reading this right off the website. It's to be considered for applications where higher attainable hardness and wear resistance are desired compared to 3V. So that's pretty dang cool, and so I'm even more excited to have this thing now. I would have been happy with it in just about any of the, you know, S30, S35, CPM M4, 154 CM, whatever. But to know that I got this guy in 4V, and it's kind of one of the more rare steels currently, it's pretty cool. Just flip it for you there a couple more times again. Just a beautiful little knife. Let's give you some comparisons. Of course, I haven't shown this one on camera yet. I'll probably do. I'm kind of slacking on doing an overview of this one. This is the Pretium from Ferrum Forge. Give you a size comparison to the Pretium. I'll lay them down here. Might be the best way to do it. So it's a little bit smaller than the Pretium. The handle's about the same size, but a little smaller overall than the Pretium. If I could find my, there we go. And the reason I wanted to show the Pretium is because Elliot over at Ferrum Forge, he's also using the Hoback roller detent. Those guys had been in contact with each other, and I guess he decided that was a good feature to get from Jake. And it works really well on this Pretium as well. Really, really been having a good summer and fall with my knife collecting. So there it is with the Pretium. You can see the handles are about exactly the same size between the two. You got a Strider S&G. You can see here the thickness. The A8 is still a little bit thicker than the S&G. Not much, but maybe a scratch thicker. So it gives you kind of an idea of just the overall width of the A8, and it also gives you a better idea too, if you haven't held one in person, just how wide the A10s are. And I like the A10 a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's really a wide knife. And then finally, just because I love showing it off, my Recenti Snafu. Obviously it's a much larger knife, but you know, I just can't keep the thing, can't keep from taking pictures of it and getting it on camera. So there you go. Really exciting stuff. Get them kind of all lined up here for you. Snafu, S&G, A10, or A8 rather, and Pretium. Really want to thank Jake. He probably won't watch this video. He's such a busy guy right now. It's insane. But for reaching out to me and letting me know that there was one available and that I could jump on it sooner than later, and for making just such a nice little knife. If you guys have any questions or comments, sorry for rambling on a little bit during this video. I just kind of wanted to take it loose and see where we went with it. But questions, comments, not really digging the new comments, the way comments are working on YouTube right now. So I'm going to try to respond to everybody if I can, but for some reason it won't let me to respond to some. It won't let me respond to others. If you really need any info or any more info, or feel like I'm ignoring you, just go ahead and send me hit me a private message. I'll be happy to respond. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Talk to you later.